Hello, my name is Jarrett Brown. I live in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Today I'm going to talk about how I quit drinking alcohol. So I've been drinking, or I drank alcohol from the time that I was 16 until earlier this year, February, I was 38. So for like 22 years. Um, when I was 16, one day I was working at the Taco Bell in North Carolina, and this guy named Randall, he took me to a band practice in Peachland, North Carolina. And while we were there and the band was practicing, one of the guys told me to help myself to beer in the refrigerator. Even though I was 16 and that was an adult, and he probably shouldn't, or he shouldn't have told me to do that, or that I could do that, but he did. And so I went in the refrigerator, got a beer, I drank it. I didn't like it, but uh, I didn't hate it. It just wasn't something that a taste that I was familiar with. But uh, after that, I just kept drinking, and eventually, I liked it. I liked it too much, um, and I drank a lot in high school. Uh, then after I graduated high school, I was in college and working. I was working full time and going to college at night. I drank. I just kept drinking. Uh, Sometimes more than other times, but pretty steadily for that whole time, that whole 22 years. And I estimate that uh, I drank at least 60,000 beers in the 22 years, probably more than that, probably close to 70,000 or more. But it doesn't matter. The exact number doesn't matter. The point is that it's a whole shit ton of beer. It's it's enough, mostly beer. It was other kinds of alcohol too, but mostly beer. But I drank enough alcohol to last me for several lifetimes. Uh, and so, um, sometimes like I would just drink on the weekends and like not drink after work, but just drink 12 beers on Friday, 15 beers on Saturday, 10 beers on Sunday. And that adds up. And other times I'll drink every day of the week. Um, but I just had a lot. And so, like, I mean, alcohol, in some ways, it was good for me because it helped me relax. And as they say, took the edge off. But in a lot of ways, it wasn't good for me because, like, even if it made me feel good for a little bit, eventually, like the next morning, it made me depressed. I was depressed already, but it made me more depressed, and then um, just made my body not feel good. When you have a hangover, your head hurts, but generally your whole body just doesn't feel very good. And so I didn't enjoy that part of it, physical toll that it takes on your body. But I guess when I was in my early 20s, I remember that I was working in Alaska, Seward, Alaska, and I was working at a seafood processing plant. And we worked a lot. We worked up to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week for like 4 months straight. But every once in a while, we would get off early, or we would have a day off. Not very often, but every once in a while. And when we did, we would go to the store. They had a store called the Three Bears and a Safeway. And so we would, or a gas station also. And we would go to those places. We would get alcohol. Then we would go out in the woods and drink. And we drank beer, but also um, a lot of different kinds of liquor. And one time, these guys had the idea to make a beer bong, so like a funnel, and pour beer in it, and then you drink it very quickly through the funnel. And I had whiskey. I think it was Jack Daniels, but it could have been Evan Williams or something else. And I had Coke, very little Coke and a whole lot of whiskey. and I poured that into the beer bong and drank it. Um, so like a whole lot of whiskey really quickly, and I went from not being drunk to being very very drunk very quickly. So drunk that I couldn't walk. Um, that people had to help me along. And so like I abused alcohol because like if I drank one beer, I had to drink 20, or if not 20, at least a lot, like 12 or 15, drink till I didn't want anymore or I couldn't drink anymore. And I don't know why that was, if it's genetic or just my personality or what, or my body wanted it, I don't know, or my brain, but I just drank too much. And I would take it too far. And so, like, I might start drinking in the early evening, 6 o'clock, and not stop until the next 6 o'clock, which is the next morning. Um, and so I knew I was taking it too far. And, like, in some ways, the alcohol, like, it didn't cause a problem because I still worked, I still went to school, still did a lot of other things. Um, and I could do those things, and it didn't stop me from doing those things or cause problems. I wasn't drinking while I was doing those things, but it kept me from feeling as good as I could have while I was doing those things. And I don't know. During the pandemic, so from 2020 to let's say 2022, COVID-19, we were all at home a lot. I was at home too, and I was working some, but mostly I was doing schoolwork. I was finishing my college degree, and so I would do my schoolwork during the day, and then at night, every night, I would drink, 12, 16, 20 beers every night. And this, it, that just wasn't healthy at all because I was drinking more alcohol than anything else, not drinking water, not eating right. Um, but I guess that's how I like numb my brain, and it allowed me to make it through that time because it was a very hard time because it was isolating, and it was not scary, but the future was uncertain because we didn't know what was going to happen and how things were going to work out. And so I just used alcohol to help me get through that. But it did it too much. And at two different points, 2020 and 2022, I attempted to end my own life using alcohol and prescribed prescription drugs as well as over-the-counter drugs, like a lot of them. Like we're talking a lot. I don't want to say exactly how much, but the phrase I usually use is enough to kill a cow, like plenty. And so, like obviously, I physically wasn't well because of all the alcohol I was drinking, but I mentally wasn't well either. And because like I have a lot of things going for me, like I'm very intelligent, very accomplished. Um, I have a lot of opportunities in front of me, but I was just so depressed about the way things were and about my life and about different things that I just didn't want to live anymore. And I think alcohol was a big part of that problem because alcohol, like I said before, it makes you feel a little better for a short time, but eventually it makes you depressed. And it did that to me, and so I stayed pretty depressed during that time. Um, but in December of 2020, in May of 2022, I finished my bachelor's degree at like age 36, so it took me like 20 years almost to get a 4-year degree. because I didn't have the chance to go right after high school to college. But I got that. And then in 2023, I got a master's degree, and I was a teaching assistant at the school where I was going, the university, and so I was doing really well. And I got that in 2023, and then in February of 2024, so this year, I started a new job. I liked the job, uh, working as a paralegal, so basically an assistant for two attorneys. And they treated me. They still treat me well. They I got to use all of my different skills and my knowledge and my education and all that. So I was liking the job, but I was going home and I was drinking at night. Not a lot, but just a little bit. Like, well, at least what I call a little bit. So 5, 7, 10 beers. And one night it was like, or a lot of nights it was like 12, 1, 2 o'clock when I quit, and then I went to work at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, 11, and I just didn't like the idea that I was doing that because I want to do a good job. It's an important job, and I wanted to make sure that my brain was working as well as it could so that I could do the best job that I could. And I just didn't want the feeling of being drunk anymore. Because let me take a step back. So in December of 2023, I went to Mexico for most of that month, for a lot of reasons, just to celebrate the master's degree that I got and to just have a different experience and to relax and be at the beach and just do all the things that you can do there, ride horses, ride on the boats, eat food, drink beer. But during that month, I drank 500 beers, or the equivalent of 500 beers, because I drank other alcohol as well. But that's a shit ton of alcohol. It's way too much. It would be like an average of like, I think it's 17 or 18 a day to get to 500. And I drank every single day for the 30 days, 31 days. But when I was there, I mean, I wasn't drunk the whole time, because I would wake up and I wouldn't be drunk, be hungover, but not drunk. But I was drinking most of the day and all night, and then sleeping for a few hours and then doing it again. And in order to stay, to keep my body feeling good, or it wasn't really feeling good, but to keep myself with enough alcohol, it was hard work. I was constantly drinking. And so I was just constantly feeding my body alcohol. And in some ways, I was enjoying it because I was very lubricated, but in other ways, I was feeling like shit, and I didn't enjoy the feeling of having to have it, because it feels like I was, I don't know, like imprisoned by the alcohol, like I had to have it just to live, and so I guess in February, like I was talking about, I was working and things were going well, but I was drinking every night. And then one night, I was just tired of it. And so I finished a beer, drank my last sip, poured out what was left, and then poured out all the other alcohol that was in my house, which was, I don't know how many, but there were some cans of alcohol, of beer, and then there was a bottle of tequila. So I poured all that out, and I just quit. And I said I wasn't going to have any alcohol anymore, and I haven't had any since. And I know that a lot of times when people quit alcohol, and even for me, like, or at least what I was told, is that when you quit drinking alcohol, it's difficult. So you struggle with it every day. That's why people go to like Alcoholics Anonymous or other groups every day so that they can have support and people help them to stay sober. And I thought that was going to happen to me, and I thought my body was going to have withdrawals in my brain, and I was just going to really want it, and I was going to be miserable or I was going to be sick. And like for years, therapists, doctors, they told me that I should quit. They said, when you quit, you need to do it carefully and you need to make sure that you have a doctor's supervision because this might not be good for you. It'll be good for you to quit, but like they were talking about, I could have like physical reactions to it. And to my surprise, when I quit, I just quit. And I never wanted it again. I still haven't wanted it. I feel a lot better. My brain is better. My body is better. My brain is a different story. But, I mean, my brain feels better, but there was another issue that I'll talk about in another video with my brain. So I had to have surgery for something completely unrelated. But I felt really good. And in a way, I'm kind of embarrassed to say it because I know that other people struggle and they struggle the rest of their lives and it's hard for them. And for me to say, oh, it's easy, it wasn't no problem, never wanted it again, that seems like I'm bragging. In a way, I am proud of it, but in a way, I don't feel comfortable saying it because I don't want other people to feel bad about what happened to them. Because every person is different, every person has different experiences. So I don't want to like try to make it seem like, oh, I'm tougher than you, I'm stronger than you. I quit with no problem, and look at you, you're struggling. I don't want it to seem like that, because that wouldn't be right, and like nobody deserves that, because, like I said, everybody is different. So their experiences are going to be different. Their body is different. Their genetics are different. Everything is different, and so everybody's struggle is personal to them, and all we should do is just give them the support that we can give them. But so like now, I can go to restaurants and bars where they have alcohol, and I'll just order a Pepsi or a Coke, and I like Dr. Pepper. It's my favorite drink. So I'll just order one of those with no ice, sit there and drink it, and people can be drinking beer or doing shots, and I'm not the least bit tempted. Actually, it kind of makes me sick to think about, especially liquor, but to think about drinking alcohol, and to think about how my body felt and how my brain felt and how I just felt in general. Like I didn't like the part of being addicted to it, like having to do it, because it made me kind of feel bad about myself that like I needed it so bad, because like I don't know, I just felt like, why do I need something like alcohol just to be able to make it through the day? And so like I don't want to ever have that kind of need anymore, something that I need to have it so bad that I can't live without it, especially if it's something that actually does damage and causes problems. So I think like one of the reasons that I was able to quit so easily is because I felt better, because like I said, I got a master's degree, I had a better job, I had a better outlook in the future. There are some problems with the economy and the housing and the cost of everything, but generally like I felt better about my own position, like my own future with work and different stuff like that, and different goals that I had. So that made me feel better about myself. I wasn't as depressed. I didn't need the alcohol to feel better for that short period of time. And so that made it easier. And the fact that I was just physically tired from it, just worn out. Because like when I drink the 500 beers in 1 month, that just takes a terrible toll on the body. But Yeah, so I was able to just quit. And I think, I hope, that I never drink alcohol again. And I really don't think that I will, because, like I said, it makes me sick to just think about it. And I didn't like the way that it made me feel. And in some ways, I didn't like the person that I was sometimes, not always. But sometimes when I drink alcohol, especially a lot of alcohol, it changed my personality, and it made me say things and sometimes do things that I wouldn't have normally done. Um, and so I like the idea of being in control of my mouth and being in control of my body and my thoughts and everything like